How many decisions do you think you make every day? Have a guess. No. It's much higher than you think it is. According to behavioural scientists, the average adult human makes 35,000 decisions a day. That's a huge amount of decisions to make, isn't it? If we all took as long making those 35,000 decisions as it took my 4-year-old to decide what she wanted to have for breakfast, we would literally never get anything done. But most of those decisions, we don't notice that we're making them. They just kind of happen subconsciously without us realising, unless there are some big consequences to it. Some decisions, though, are different, aren't they? Some decisions we make, maybe we take a long time over making those decisions, and they have enormous consequences. Quite often, when we make those big decisions, they tend to happen in response to something, don't they? Something happens, it causes us to reevaluate what's going on around us and make a decision to change something. Probably, you've made a lot of decisions like that so far this year. A lot of them you maybe thought you weren't ever going to have to make. 2020's been quite a year, hasn't it, so far? We're not even halfway through. And there's a good chance that you've started to make some decisions about the way you want to go forward from this point. Maybe during this period of lockdown, nearly 3 months of it now, you've gone, actually, I could change this. I don't need this in my day-to-day life. I could do without this. Maybe I could work from home. Maybe, actually, I don't need to drive everywhere. I can walk to some places. I can keep up with the habit of going for a walk every day. Maybe it's decisions like that. Maybe it's bigger than that. Maybe some of the events of 2020 have caused you to look a little bit deeper at yourself and to challenge some things about the way you view the world. Those are good things to do, whether it's the practical decisions about the way we live our life or those sort of bigger challenges of how we're going to view the world going forward from this point. The difficulty, the problem, is that those things aren't just a one-time decision, are they? How many times have you made a decision that you're going to change something, you're going to do something? Maybe it was a New Year's resolution. And then after a while, the kind of gradual pull, the gradual nature of your life means that you sort of forget about it. And after a period of time, things are just back where they were before. 2020 has been quite something. It has caused most of us to make some huge decisions, and we have a bit of a choice to make now, don't we? We can, when we look back on this year in years to come, look at it as a blip year in a period of time where otherwise things just carried on as normal. Or 2020 can be a year where things changed massively for us personally and for the world that we live in. But for it to be the second option, and I really hope you've watched this video and gone, yeah, option 2. For it to be the second option, that's going to take not just one decision, not just one decision to change, not just one momentary thing. It's going to take some of those 35,000 decisions we make every day to consciously, initially at least, change, so that we change, so that the world changes, so that when we look back on 2020, we can go, this happened, I made this decision in this moment to change me, to change the world, and I've continued to make decisions based on that since then, and now look at where we are. Does that sound good? Does that sound hard? It is difficult. There's a story in the Bible about a rich young man who comes to Jesus. He says, I've done all of this in my life. I've done all of this. I've done all these things. I've kept the laws. I've done everything I need to do. What more do I need to do? Jesus turns around to him and he says, you need to sell everything you've got and you need to follow me. So there's 2 decisions there, isn't there? You need to make the one big change, then you need to continue making those changes to follow Jesus, keep following him. The rich young man turns away and goes back to life as it was before, because to make those decisions was going to be difficult. The pull back to normality was too much for him. The pull back to the life that he had was too great than the road that had been laid out in front of him. The disciples look at this situation and they go, what's going on here? Like, how has that happened? Why has that happened? And Jesus says, do you know, it's incredibly difficult for us to leave the life that we have behind. In fact, it's impossible for us to do it on our own. But when we do that with God, all things are possible. There's an incredible scripture in Philippians that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So, my thought for the day today, as non-essential shops in England we are reopen, as that kind of gradual getting back to normality starts to happen, is do not miss this moment. Don't miss the opportunity for change. Don't miss the opportunity to follow through on the big decisions that you've made and gradually find yourself back where you started back in January. Don't miss it. But also, don't do it on your own, because it will be difficult. In fact, it will be impossible. Make those big decisions, have those big dreams, but go after them with God. Let's make 2020 the year that changed everything by continually making decisions to change. Have a great day. Have a great week. See you soon.